Gen Z is entering the workforce with new perspectives and expectations.
In this podcast, we're here to listen to their stories and experiences, their successes and frustrations, and help employers understand the mindset and perspectives of the up-and-coming workforce.
Employers can't dictate what their young employees find meaningful. What they can do, however, is empower them to create their own sense of purpose and authentic connections.
Our curriculum is designed to help them do exactly that. East Valley Leader Lab is committed to paving the way for more curious, engaged, and connected young professionals in the workplace.
Hi, I'm Amanda Stradling, and this is Timm Eskew. We are the East Valley Leader Lab, and this is our podcast, Mind and Body at Work. If our content resonates with you, we hope that you will click on the link in the show notes for a description of our newest offer, Helping Gen Z Thrive at Work. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel or to wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, Amanda. So today we're doing another segment in our series on the SELPH acronym, SELPH, which we adopted and adapted from Bob Dunham and the Institute for Generative Leadership. And so far we've talked about how all human beings are somatic beings. We've talked about how all human beings are emotional beings and how that ties in with moods. And today we're focusing on the L, which stands for how all human beings are linguistic beings. And the history behind this, I think, is pretty fascinating. There was a British philosopher, I don't know if this was early in his career in the 30s or later in the 50s. The book was published in the 50s. His name was John Austin. And throughout his career, he was a linguistic philosopher, and throughout his career, he looked at very carefully at what we're doing with language. And what he determined and shared is that while most of us think of language as a descriptive tool, right? We look and we describe what's going on. We describe what's going on for us internally. John Austin observed that there are certain types of phrases that are not just descriptive, but they actually change the state of the world when they are spoken under certain conditions. So let me give you an example of that. One of the classic examples is in a baseball game, right? When the umpire says strike three, they're not just describing the state of things, that changes the state of the game, right? And then there's an example from a more serious game. When a person with the appropriate authority says, you are now man and wife, that's not just describing who you are, right? That's changing the state of the world for you and how the government sees you and how your family sees you. So really kind of interesting. And he talked about these, he described these powerful statements as performative as opposed to descriptive.
Yes. So language isn't just passively describing things, but it puts itself in the driver's seat, kind of. It makes changes.
If you know how to use it that way.
Yeah. So declarations and commitments are two types of performative language.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So we can declare something, and also every time we make a commitment and we speak that, that's also changing the state of the situation around us.
Exactly. So, for example, if I'm at work and I say to my boss, I'll have that report on your desk by noon tomorrow, if he perceives that or she perceives that as a trustworthy commitment, that's going to change what she does for the rest of the day, right? So she's not going to write that report herself. She's not going to worry about that report. She's going to trust that she will have that report when she needs it to go to her meeting in the afternoon. So it's a very simple example.
Yes.
But it's not just describing, it's changing.
Yeah, commitments are so important. We focus a lot on commitments as not just a type of language, but as something, tying it back to the S, right, that is in our mind and our body, right? Yes. Commitments, when you're aligned with your body, they're coming from within you. They're linked to the values and the beliefs and the emotions, moods, all the things that are tied in your body.
Yeah, and that was something I learned late in my career. I studied commitment most of my career, and had some useful ways of helping teams and organizations operate from personal commitments. But I didn't understand until 10, 15 years ago that ultimately these things reside in your body. So if we want to really tap into people's commitment, we have to use language to understand, what people are feeling in their body. What commitments are they feeling? Not just what commitments can we get them to speak in a meeting.
Yep. And have that alignment between what they're feeling and what they're speaking. And it takes a high level of awareness as a leader, right, to be able to have those conversations and to sense when there is misalignment.
Yes. And so it kind of reshapes the role of the leader when you understand that the certain types of language, is things that reside in the body.
Very good.
There's another whole class of powerful statements that are performative, which are assessments, right? And assessments are simply the judgments we make as we're going through our day. I like your dress, or I don't like your dress, or I don't like your shoes.
Yeah.
We make these. They're kind of recreational judgments throughout the day. Some of us make more than others, but it's part of being human to make these judgments. What John Austin pointed out, and then another philosopher, Fernando Flores, after him, is that these assessments that we make can have power over us, or they can have power over other people.
Yeah, and you're going to act according to those assessments you made, whether they're accurate or not, right?
Yes. Yeah, and so the caution is, again, it comes down to awareness, being aware if you're giving power to other people's assessments, right? If you don't like my shoes, am I going to let that change my day? And am I going to let that change the way I think about myself? Am I going to let that change the way I dress? If I do, then I'm giving you that power. Or if I understand that, you're a human being, you can't help it. You make assessments. Your assessments tell me more about you than they tell the world about me. Now I'm kind of keeping that power. I have the power of assessments on my side rather than giving it away.
Yeah, that's a great tool.
Yeah. So can you think of ways that, we're talking in this season about Gen Z entering the workforce. Can you think about what do you think about the assessments that they're making and how that's impacting how they show up in the workplace?
We've had so many great examples of Gen Z workers so far on our podcast this season. And they've all come in with different personal stories they've been sharing. I think a lot of those assessments that they're making have been positive, and a lot have been negative. There's a lot of accuracy in what they're saying.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But some of the things they're saying are kind of heavy. Those assessments, there's weight there.
Yeah.
And it can kind of close off opportunity.
Yes.
Rather than open it. So I think it's important to develop awareness around the language that you're using.
Yep.
And also to empower them to use this language in a constructive way, and to bring this language into important conversations with their managers, bosses, with their coworkers, to be solution seeking rather than closing off with complaints and negative assessments.
Right. And I think, one of the things that struck me is we all make judgments as human beings, and one of the most powerful judgments and assessments we make is about our future. Is our future positive? Is there opportunity for me in my future? And those assessments are showing up in the conversations we're having with these young people. They've got they've got big concerns about their futures, and so the day-to-day tasks that they're being given are not they're maybe not prone to be too concerned about those tasks when they're thinking about a future where they're maybe not going to be able to buy a home, or they're not going to be able to start a family.
Yeah, definitely valid concerns. But an important thing about language and these conversations is that it can bring you to the task at hand, and it can help really focus your energy on achieving goals one step at a time, having these communications with your workplace they're in line with your care and in line with your hopes for the future. And yeah, language is an important tool for the here, for the now, and a good way to stay productive and focused.
Yeah, I think you mentioned declarations, and that's one of the tools that we share with people in our classes. Is a declaration is a performative language. You're changing things when you say, this is how I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to accomplish, this is what I want my future to be like. So it's one of the ways that we work with young people to help them start to shift their outlook, their assessment of the future. We give them a sense that they have some control over it. And that's important for human beings. Things can get kind of dark and negative when you don't feel like you have control over your future.
Yeah, in our course, I've seen a lot of really powerful shifts with different people as we help them craft these declarations about themselves, about their life, their goals that they feel very aligned with, and they restate them every day. And that focus really starts to transform what's happening for them in their work life and their whole countenance, the way they're showing up.
Yeah, it's really fun and rewarding to see that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of our course.
Anything else you'd like to share about how human beings are linguistic beings and how that's affecting Gen Z as well as everybody else?
Just language is a powerful tool, and I love bringing awareness to that, and I love the way that when you harness the words that you're using, it really does reshape how you're showing up and change your life.
Can make a big difference. So we would encourage you, if you're seeing how this might impact people, young people entering the workforce, we are directing some of our courses now to help these young people examine their outlook about the future and shift their outlook about the future and make declarations. And we invite you to come to our website at www.evleaderlab.com and learn about this new offer. And we want to thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time, and be well and keep moving.
This has been Mind and Body at Work with the East Valley Leader Lab. Please click on the link in the show notes for a description of our newest offer, Helping Gen Z Thrive at Work. This is our embodiment training to help new young workers integrate into your organization.
As always, if this content resonates with you and your cares, please like, share, and/or subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is you get your podcast. Be well and keep moving.